So it is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And joining us this morning to tell us a little more about it is Stacey Nash, Senior Vice President and General Manager at USAA. Thank you so much for being here, Stacey. How are you?
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes. So first, can you start us off by explaining the importance of Cybersecurity Awareness Month and what it hopes to accomplish?
Absolutely. So Cybersecurity Awareness Month was started in 2004 by Congress. It was started actually with a goal to empower individuals and consumers to recognize cyber threats and how they can become safer and more secure online.
Very good. And you know what? We're inundated with a bunch of scams and what have you. So cybersecurity is something that should be forefront of your mind. So what new scams are popping up and how can someone spot one?
Perfect. I would just tell you the top scams we're seeing involve anything where you're getting a text. We're all getting them over and over again. PayPal, Amazon password resets. You've got malware on your computer, call this number. The biggest one we've seen in the last 6 to 12 months, you get a text and it looks like it's your bank's fraud department. And it tells you you've got transactions and you say you didn't do them because it's fake. You get a phone call right away. And that phone call asks you for everything, your login credentials, your password, your one-time code, and you provide it because you think it's your bank. And the second you do that, they're in your account and they're trying to take your money.
And that's never a good thing. And it just shows you how easy it can be. So, Stacey, what are the most important security steps that people can take right now to secure their information?
So the one thing I would say is immediately, anybody who calls you and asks for a one-time code or a login password or anything over the phone, regardless of who they say they're calling from, even if they call and say they're from your bank's fraud department, your bank will never ask you for your one-time code or your login credentials. I can't emphasize that enough. Hang up and call your bank right away. Second thing I would say is set up alerts on your accounts. So I always use the analogy like a home alarm system. You can actually set your alarm so that you know if somebody's jiggling the door or trying to open a window. You can do a lot of that with your bank account too, so that if you know if somebody's trying to log in or trying to request information or moving money, there's a bunch of things. And I would say the third thing is just be vigilant. And if something feels wrong, don't be afraid to reach out. A lot of these fraudsters will try and scare people into not talking about it and not telling anyone. Don't believe it. Reach out, ask for help from family, friends, relatives, and your bank.
Very good. Yeah, and that will help stop them. So when dealing with scams, Stacey, imposter fraud seems to come up. How can someone recognize it?
I would say the best way to recognize any kind of a scam is urgency and speed. Typically what will happen is they will say you have to act right now. And anytime they're asking for information, those are like right now I can tell you if I get a text or I get a phone call, I'm immediately suspicious because I know the rate that these things are happening. And I would just say that the first time anybody texts me or calls me and says they're from anywhere, my immediate reaction is, I'm not sure I can believe this, regardless of who they say they're calling from. So the second you get anything, just be alert and be very cognizant of what it is they're asking for and don't provide them with information on anything that they could use to get access into any of your accounts.
Very good. So when it comes to those most vulnerable to these schemes and attacks, who would you say that is?
I would tell you, unfortunately, these fraudsters are targeting a lot of the elderly population. If you think about some of the elderly population, my parents are a great example. They're on their computer all the time and they're good people and they trust people. So when they get a pop-up that says they have malware on their computer, they believe it. When they get a text or a call that says they have fraud or something else, they believe it. I would just tell you that the other thing that these criminals are doing is they're trying to scare people, especially elderly consumers, into not talking about it, into not telling anybody. I've heard situations recently where people are told that their phones are tapped and they can't tell their relatives. Don't believe any of that. Reach out for help and don't be ashamed. It's happening to everyone.
Absolutely. Stacey, thank you so much for some of these tips and the information. Anything else you would like our viewers to know about Cybersecurity Awareness Month?
Yeah, the thing I would just offer is for more information, your viewers can go to usaa.com/cyber. There's a bunch of information there that people can leverage to actually educate themselves more. And there's some good tips on there. And just thank you. Thank you for taking the time to get this message out. It's so important.
Agreed. And it's a pleasure. So thank you for calling in, Stacey.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, of course. And you can find more information at home by going to the hot links section on our website, WNEM.com.